Hi there. Nice to finally meet you. So, as you know, I will be your new full-time tennis coach. And today I think we're just going to go over a bit what we briefly discussed on the phone and via email and all the texting that we've been doing, planning to make this happen. So, how are you finding the hotel so far? It looks pretty nice from what I can tell. Yeah, they got us up in a pretty nice room. Yeah. Yeah, so the resort is kind of hosting this tournament that you're going to be playing in. So yeah, it looks pretty decent, to be fair, so far at least. All right, so I know you just want to kind of get settled in, but let's just go over briefly the whole deal here. So if we're both on the same page, from how I understand it, I'm going to be your full-time coach, manager, whatever you want to call it. I'm primarily going to be helping you out with your technique, your physicality. I'm going to kind of act like a physio for you as well. I'm going to be responsible for signing you up for tournaments, preparing you before matches, and probably most importantly, I'm also going to be your full-time hitting partner. Yeah, so I'm going to be traveling with you all around the world, and we're going to try to get your ranking up, and we're going to try to move you along in the world of tennis. Does that sound good? Yeah. Well, good thing is we're on the same page, and I like to come prepared, so I have a notebook here with me with a couple of details about the tournament that you're going to play in this upcoming week. I'm also going to be taking a look at your equipment, because from what I understand, you've been playing with one racket and you've been trying a second one that you might want to transfer to completely. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, but we'll take a look at that later. So let's firstly, let's go a bit over this tournament as a whole. From what I understand, you don't have a ranking whatsoever. Correct. Okay. And you've been playing a couple of tournaments here and there, not really traveling far, no? All right. So the way this tournament works is that the resort that we're staying at has decided to host some sort of tournament. It's not just the resort; there are sponsors and there's a tournament organizer, of course. But you're going to primarily be playing for prize money, right? And a potential wild card into a separate tournament. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a long, winding road to get to the top, but we have to work from the bottom up. This tournament is a pretty sizable one, I guess, for this caliber. It's the main draw of the tournament is going to have 32 players, right? And because of the fact that you don't have any kind of ranking or anything like that, you're not in the main draw. So that's why we have what we call the qualifying draw, which is the first tournament that you're going to participate in this week. Yeah, and the qualifying is just over the weekend. Yeah. So it's Friday today, and we're not going to play any tennis today. Maybe we'll do some hitting tonight. We'll see, just you and me. But we're not going to play any matches, of course. And tomorrow is the first round of qualies. Okay, so you're going to be participating on Saturday, and the funky thing about this tournament is that qualies is over Saturday and Sunday, but the qualifying draw is quite big. Yeah, so there's going to be 8 players that qualify into the main draw, right? So 8 out of the 32 in the main draw are actually going to go through qualifiers, right? So that means that there are 3 rounds of qualifiers. Yeah. Yeah, effectively that means that the draw is 64. Yeah, so you're going to start at round of 64 and qualies, and then you have to win 3 matches to be a part of the top 8. Yeah. So, yeah, let's just quickly go over. We're not going to talk about your game or anything like that. Of course, that's going to be a huge part of my inclusion into your tennis career, of course, to improve your game and to evolve pretty much as possible to see if we can get you climbing up that ranking ladder. Yeah. So, like I mentioned, Saturday is the first round of qualifiers. So, you have drawn in round 1 of qualies an unknown American player. You're not going to be facing any top-ranked player. You're not going to be facing a player on the ATP tour or on the ITF tour. Nothing like that. We're not there yet. But there's going to be a lot of hungry players here who really do want to get that little chunk of cash that comes with this tournament and the possibility of getting a wild card into an ITF or futures tournament. Yeah. So there is a lot to play for, but it doesn't necessarily have a very tangible prize in the end, right? It's about possibilities. So, but you're facing an unknown American. You know, we don't know who this guy is. We don't know anything about him. We can't look him up. We can't look up his strengths and weaknesses. What I do know, though, is that it's a lefty, so you got to be aware of that. But this is going to be at 2 p.m. is your first round of qualifiers, okay? Yeah, 2 p.m. So that means that before 2, today, I don't think we're going to do anything tonight, but before 2 p.m., I think we're just going to do some light hitting on one of the practice courts. Yeah, there's actually a lot of courts here, even though it's just like a resort. They call it a tennis resort, but it's mostly a hotel, I guess. Yeah, but there's a lot of amenities here that we can, use as much as we want, apparently. But anyways, once you've knocked out this American player, potentially in your round 2 of qualies, which is sadly kind of on the same day, so you're going to have to play 2 matches to reach the final round of qualifiers, which happens on Sunday. Right, so if you do win your first qualies match at 2, or sometime after 2, your second round match would start at 6 p.m. and you would face a Bulgarian fella or a Japanese guy. Doesn't really matter who wins. On paper, I think you would be the strongest player in both matchups. It doesn't really matter. I don't know so much about these players, of course, but my job here in this tournament is to learn a little bit so that we can prepare you as best as possible for what's to come, right? So, what we're going to do, I think the plan would be to prepare as much as possible and just focus on your game, because that's pretty much all we can do here, right? We're not facing anybody we know of, and you're on your own out there, right? So from what I understand, you are a right-handed player with a two-handed backhand. Yeah. And you have a little bit of issue with your serve, you're saying? Yeah, would you say first or second serve? First serve. Okay, so your second serve is pretty safe. Do you usually kick it, or is it always like a slow slice, or? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll work on that. We're kind of just, jumping right into it here, I guess. New coach day before first round of qualies, but what would you say is the issue with your first serve then? Is it the percentage that's low, or? Right. Do you usually net the first serve then, or does it usually just... It's a bit long, okay. Yeah, we can work on that, of course. We're going to work a little bit on the toss, I think, from what I saw from your videos that you sent me. The toss needs a little bit of work, and also the timing of the overhead, because you really want to flatten it out at the perfect time, I guess. I know that sounds kind of... Yeah, it is a lot of work, of course, you know that. But I think tomorrow we have a court booked at 10 a.m. We're going to go over the serve then, right? We're going to just go through it really slowly. And I think in qualifiers, you can really slow down the pace on your first serve. Yeah, because these aren't very experienced players. You're going to be fine, right? You just need to hit them in, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, but we'll go over that later. So, let's see here. On Sunday, wait, let's look at that Sunday. If you do make it, or when you do make it past the first 2 rounds of qualies, you will probably face a Spanish player in the end. And I'm saying that because this is the only player I saw that had previously had some ranking points. Yeah, so there's a higher potential that you would face this player in the end, in the last round of qualies there. He's the 3rd seed in the qualifiers. Yeah, so he is one of the only players you maybe need to look out for, if you can call it that. But this is, Spanish players tend to be pretty grindy, and they like to play long points, and they usually play well on the clay. I know these are hard courts, but still, you might have to work a little bit for it, and that's where I think the first serve is going to be very important, because you want to put a lot of balls in play, and you don't want to play too fast either. So anyways, I think you're gonna make it pretty easily through. From what I've seen, I really think we're not gonna have much issues in qualies, right? However, Monday, there are no matches. This is a complete off day. So this is the day where we're gonna want to, use and abuse all the utilities and amenities of the hotel. Because we're at this beautiful resort, there's a spa that's for the players only this week, and me, the coach, as well. So there's going to be a pool there, there's a gym, there's a sauna, there's a steam room, there's everything we could want, right? And we have full access to the spa, so, we can do a lot of exercises. I can give you a massage, all of that stuff. And we can do some proper strength training in the gym as well. So, yeah, so Monday we're just going to do probably full day of gym treatment, of course hitting practice as well. I actually think we have, because we have the smaller court tonight and tomorrow if we want, but then on Monday I managed to book the center court actually. Yeah, so what's interesting about this kind of tournament is that a lot of people are, at the resort, surrounding resorts and hotels and stuff like that. So these people, they just have access to the courts, and there's no ticketing or whatever. You can just play or place yourself anywhere around the court and look at any match you want. So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing this week as well, and checking out, seeing how the other players are doing and how they're playing on these courts. Yeah, but we have center court there, so I'm going to see if we can, of course I'm going to be hitting with you, but I think it would be smart to link up with another player and play a practice set or two. Yeah, we can do that. We can also, scope out and see if, because these players that are going through qualies, we can see if, if they're any good, we can hit with them potentially. Yeah. So let's say we make it through qualies, no problem. You're qualified for the main draw. Potentially then, Tuesday is the first round of the main draw of the tournament. So round of 32, Tuesday, right? And there's no set time for this match because it hasn't been decided yet. We have 8 qualifiers coming in, and then your match would obviously be decided on that Monday. So Tuesday is round 1, and then we have Wednesday, round 2, which would be the round of 16. Thursday is the third round, or quarterfinals. Friday is the semis, and then Saturday would be the final. So hopefully we can make it all the way to the final. Of course, we're staying here for the whole week anyways. Worst case scenario, you lose a match in at some point in the draw, and it happens, but of course we're planning on winning this thing. So, but potentially we're talking 5 matches in the main draw, right? Round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinal, semifinal, and final, right? add on top of that your 3 matches in qualifiers. It's a lot of matches. It's a lot of tennis, to be fair. So, what we're gonna want to do is be very wary of not exerting too much in qualifiers. And I know that might sound a little counterintuitive, but we need to qualify with a little bit of energy. We can't have you be completely depleted after 3 matches. However, the important part here is that in qualifiers, you're not playing best of 3 sets technically. No, you'll be playing a regular first set, and then you'll be playing, if you win that set and then win the next one, no problem. But if you win the first set, lose the second set, you're going to be playing a super tie break. Yeah, so first to 10 points. There will never be a third set, right? But if you win the match in straight sets, then obviously that's the best possible outcome. So, but just so you know, there won't be any 3-setters in qualies. But in the main draw, of course, we have regular best of 3 sets. So I think that's all good. I just wanted to give you a little bit of info about the courts as well. Apparently they play a little bit slow, and I think it also has a little bit to do with the balls here. They're using these Wilson US Open ones. Yeah, they're not using like official balls, so we have to be a little bit wary of that, which is why we want to do a lot of hitting practice. Yeah, because I think they're going to take a lot of getting used to, and yeah, it's going to be important for us to practice as much as possible. Definitely. So yeah, they're pretty okay, but from what I understand, I was talking to one of the other coaches in the lobby earlier, and he said that the balls play really slow and the court plays really slow. Yeah. So yeah, we're probably going to need to adjust quite a bit, but I think it'll be totally fine. Now, let's take a look at your... So this is the racket that you played with, right? Yeah, so this is the head racket. And from what you told me, you said that the tension might have been a little bit off on this one. Yeah. What did you have it strung at? 32. Okay. So what I've already, taken the liberty of doing is stringing a couple of your head rackets to 30. Yeah. A bit lower tension. The reason for that is because I think on slow courts like this, we're going to be playing on a lot of slower courts going forward. The control won't be so important for you. Of course, we still have the old rackets, so we can always, revisit the old tension and the specs of that. So I don't think that's a problem. Yeah, it looks pretty good still. This is the one I just changed the strings on it, so not much difference. But do you still? I mean, we can take a look at that. But do you always use the dampener? Yeah. Have you tried playing without it much? Okay. And the grip on this, you want to keep this one. Yeah. How is it when you play when it's really hot? Do you sweat a lot in your hands, or is it okay? All right. Well, we can try a lot of different things with chalk and stuff like that, or some tack on your hands if you need better grip. But okay, so let's take a look, because you wanted to transition a little bit to a new racket, you said, or at least try one out. Yeah, so this is the new racket with the new tension and new strings. So these are polyester strings, of course. Yeah. And this is strung at 30. Yeah. So you've never tried this one with the tension of 32, have you? No. Well, I don't know. I mean, this is the Yonex VCore 100. I don't know if this is going to give you more or less control. It really depends on the player. I would think maybe a little bit less, and coupled with, the lower tension, I think that's, yeah, we're going to need to do a lot of practice. Let's just put it that way, because it's going to take a lot of getting used to. Yeah, you don't need to change very much for it to be very noticeable in your game. Yeah. But I think this one is a good one. I've seen plenty of players use this one or a variant of this one, at least. Is this your regular grip size? Okay. Yeah. No, I think we can check, on the first practice. We'll see, We could always just add another overgrip and then, yeah, no problem. All right, well, I think this looks good. I think, if anything, the issue with this might be that the racket head has quite a different shape, and you're going to maybe have a little bit of difficulties finding the sweet spot, at least in the first few practices, but yeah. So if the tension on this one is a little bit off, we can always send that to the stringers. They have stringers here at the resort at the moment, so we can always change the tension, and you have strings with you, right? Yeah, if not, we can always go out and get some. I'm gonna do my best to try and learn how to string myself, because I think that would be very valuable for us if we're gonna spend a lot of time together and really test out different strings and tensions and grips and even different rackets. Maybe we'll see what happens. But listen, I have complete faith that we're gonna make it through qualifiers. I think it's gonna go pretty okay. Yeah, if anything, what I am worried about is the balls in the court. Apparently, because they're playing so slow, yeah, I don't know. It can be pretty random. You never know until you're out there. But yeah, let's just take the day off today. I don't think we're gonna go do hitting practice today. I think we're gonna wait till tomorrow morning. But yeah, we're gonna basically just jump right into it, honestly, because we have hitting then at 10 and then first match at 2. So yeah, it's moving pretty fast then. Yeah, but it'll be worth it in the end. And there's always next week and the week after that. We're gonna do a lot of tournaments together, I think. So yeah, really excited about this collaboration that we've got going on. It seems like we're on the same page about everything, and yeah, we're gonna make you a champion in the end. Yeah, I promise. I'll do my best to make sure that it happens. All right, well, I guess you should get some sleep, and we'll go at it in the morning. Yeah. All right. Well, see you tomorrow then.